My professor at theological seminary used to say that if you can't state your message in one clear, concise line, that is your sermon or your homily, in one clear, concise line, then you have no idea what you're talking about. What a challenge. These words about the importance of simplicity and clarity were planted in me then and haunt me now. His words about making yourself clear are ever with me. Can't forget them. And his eyes, too, I can see him now. His eyes had this, and his manner, his whole being had this penetrating effect. His words and his presence were a kind of a holy demand that you make yourself clear. Well, I hope to make myself clear today, obviously. My teacher hated fuzziness. He was, therefore, just the teacher that I, something of a muddle-headed being, needed. And the professor's challenge again was that if you can't say something simply, you're confused, continues to have a stinging effect on my conscience. I mean, I almost wish that I hadn't heard him say it, because I've always felt like I've got to find a way to be clear. It's almost like a burden, this pressure to be clear. Still hearing him, I think to myself, have I said it yet? Have I made that one clear, concise thesis statement? There's this ongoing struggle to find just the right words, like to get it right. And consequently, I often feel at the end of a day of writing that I have come up short. It was of therefore some comfort recently to have read that the great American writer Ralph Waldo Emerson felt almost continually exactly like this. Writing, it was said for him, was often a desperate struggle for this great writer. At day's end, Emerson never felt that he had achieved adequate expression. C.S. Lewis, too, issued a challenge to any of us who find ourselves becoming wordy or complicated. I've come to the conviction, he said, that if you cannot translate your thoughts into uneducated language, that is plain language, if you can't translate your thoughts into uneducated language, then your thoughts are confused. That is, if you can't translate your thoughts in a plain and simple way, that is, in a non-technical and non-scholarly way, then what's been revealed is that you perhaps don't have the understanding you think you do. So this requirement to be pristinely clear was brought home to me when I was writing articles in the local newspaper in Inuvik, of all places, Canada's most northern town. I was the pastor of the Baptist church there. That's where I got my start. It was a long time ago. And I'll never forget when Frummy Diamond arrived. She was the newly appointed assistant editor to the Mackenzie Drift, which I'm sure has drifted into oblivion since. Anyway, she asked to meet with me after having read some of my articles. And I thought, uh-oh, what's going to happen here? And sure enough, I got torn apart limb from limb. Although, you know what? She was very kind, but she was severe. She had that nice mixture of kindness and severity. After recovering from her probing scrutiny of my writing, I realized I've been given this rare and precious gift in this ever alert and watchful assistant editor. She not only reaffirmed what my preaching professor had said about one clear line, but she said that you need to re-express your theme through every paragraph. Otherwise, your piece will not cohere. You'll be everywhere. Nothing will come together. You'll be chasing this rabbit, chasing that rabbit, and I know about that. I love to chase rabbits. It's always a challenge to bring everything back and make it clear. And then she made her stunning commitment to me. She said she'd work with me until I get it. Well, I'm still trying to get it. Frummy's still with me, helping me try to get it. I learned that I might have to ask over and over again, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? Maybe 1,000 times, and often feel even then I haven't got the clarity. It goes on and on. Now, in an even deeper way than I've just described in this search for the one clear line, I've also been searching for the one clear, concise line with regard to the essence of reality. Is there something that could be said about ultimate reality in one clear line? Well, the search for a way of saying something so simply and clearly about the essence of reality came to the fore quite recently when two friends were over and we were having a great conversation. And at one point, one of them noticed my icon of Christ. It's right behind, if you can see. This is my icon. I'll lift this up. There it is. A quick glance is probably not enough. It's something indeed you need to sit in front of it and simply to be with it. It's very powerful. But she noticed it and we talked about it. And we talked about a search for icons. She too had searched for an icon to represent her deep longings. And while we did this, it was really interesting just focusing on the icon. It kind of brought us together. There was a sense of a spiritual dimension. We were kind of like, we cohere together. It was really quite wonderful. I had a sense of completeness, and I think it had to do with having brought this beautiful icon back from Greece and making that like the center of my home. Now, in a conversation with one of my sons not long ago, and we were talking about having like one clear, concise line about reality. And he said to me, Dad, you said that. You gave your one clear, concise line in the article about your goddaughter, Marta. And indeed, yes, okay, I wrote an article called Marta's Destiny. Marta's my dear little 2-year-old goddaughter who I love so much. And I felt so understood by my son that he would, first of all, that he even remembered one of my articles, but he remembered the gist of it, what it is that I had been trying to say, and it had impacted him. So I looked at that article again, I revised it a little bit, and part of it goes like this. I say, I have the sparkling image of this priceless little girl in my mind's eye. She's so precious and particular. Indeed, spectacular and unique. There's never been another being like Marta, and there never will be. Marta rules in my estimation, and her worth and value as a human being is beyond compare. Nothing is worth more than such a special creation of God. And I've been thinking, as the article went on to say, surely the God who created this distinctive little girl is invested in preserving her identity. Is this not so? And then the Christian answer is to answer, well, of course. The Christian perspective is that personality is the glory of the universe. Personality is the glory of the universe, and therefore Marta, this little personality, is the glory of the universe. God willed Marta to be here, which is a stronger thing to say than to assert that this little being merely arose at some point, at this point in time, as yet another emanation of God or of consciousness. This particular being, Marta, so tangible, so touchable and real, wasn't created only to one day be extinguished or obliterated, nor is this unique, distinctive being to be absorbed at death through some kind of vanishing act into the ether. No, her destiny is not merely to be an indistinguishable and unrecognizable part of the whole. No. When I hold her in my arms and take her up for a communion, yeah, this is a distinct being. She has an eternal destiny as a distinctive being. She's destined to be transfigured and glorified, which is why her parents, Alex and Svetlana, have brought her to a church sanctuary where at the entrance the sign reads, "Enter the place of transfiguration." I can hardly think of more powerful words than that. Enter the place of transfiguration. So when I present my goddaughter for communion, I'm uniting with the heart of reality in the person of Jesus Christ, about whom Paul said, he loved me and gave himself for me. Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. He loved me and gave himself for me. There's the one clear, concise line. He loved me and gave himself for me. That's what's at the heart of reality. That's the essence of reality. That's the heart of reality in my life. So that line, more than any other, expresses what is at the essence or the heart of my life. Marta and I share this, and I hope that that is simple, concise, and clear. He loved me and gave himself for me.